Good afternoon, ladies. How are you today? I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about balancing work and home. So I have my latte and got my notes. We're going to get right into it. The first thing I want to talk to you about is understanding that as feminine ladies, we don't always have to be available. We don't always have to do everything. And that's the misconception that a lot of American women have, is that we always have to be available. We always have we always have to cover everything. And a lot of times in our families and our personal lives, that has been the case. We have always had to cover things, cover everybody else, be there to make up, cover for the slack, make up for people not doing their part. We've always had to cover the slack. And so a lot of us have never had the comfort of having a two-parent home or being around adults who are responsible. A lot of us just didn't grow up with a lot of security. So we grew up thinking that if we don't do it, it won't get done. And we felt like if we didn't do it, it wasn't going to get done. And because of that, we have this tough exterior that you're waiting for somebody to come ask you to cover the slack. You don't really trust and believe other people to take care of their part. So you're geared and ready to step in and take over. You don't really get to relax because you're always looking for the other shoe to drop. You're always looking for people to come and call you and ask you for the answers, to ask you to do something, to pick up the slack. So you never really get to relax. And as black women, a lot of us have that story, that it's hard for us to just relax and be in our feminine because we're so used to having to cover everything. If we have children, we have to cover them. If we have a man, if he's a beta male, we have to cover him. If we have a masculine man, it's hard for us to relax and let him do him because we don't believe that he's going to do it because we're just so used to doing it. We're waiting for the other shoe to drop. We have parents who don't really trust. We don't really trust that they are going to pull their part. We have mothers who, if we were the only child or if we were responsible, our mothers look to us to pick up the slack from them. And so that's been a lot of black women's story. So it's hard for them to grasp the easier life of being feminine, because being feminine, you kind of step back a lot of times. And a lot of times you do pass on opportunities to take over, to take control, okay? A lot of times you do sit back and let other people work. You are pampered. As a feminine woman, you are pampered, and you're okay with that. And other people are okay with that, and they pamper you. And that's a hard concept to really grasp for a lot of women, because we're so used to doing everything, or doing mostly everything. We're not used to people covering us. It's hard for you to just relax and be in your feminine because you've never really had anybody to really get you, to really put you first. And that's what femininity is all about, is putting self first. It's putting your oxygen mask on first and then seeing about everybody else. Have you ever heard the saying that goes, when you're on a plane and the oxygen is low, you always put your oxygen mask on first and then you see about everybody else? And that is so true. That is the essence of femininity right there. And that may sound selfish, but it absolutely is. Because as feminine women, we are nurturers. That means we are a full pot, and what we do is we give of ourselves to everyone else. And if we're empty, if we give past the time that we're empty, if we keep driving on an empty tank, okay, then we wear ourselves out. And then we become irritated and agitated, short-tempered. All right. This is why a lot of black women go from 0 to 100. Anything can set them off. And that's because they're just like a lot of us, where they just go. They've never really had anybody say, relax, I got it. And that person really had it. They've never been secure. They've never been safe and protected. And so they've been taught to go. If you don't do it, it won't get done. And they martyr themselves. They go and they go and they go and they go and they go. When people come to us, because they're supposed to come to us, we're feminine. Women come to us. That's what we are. We're givers. We're nurturers. That's what we do. We give of our femininity. We're not like men who give of their resources. We give of our femininity. Okay? So when people come to us and they need from us, this is a good thing. This means that we are a healthy source for them. But we have to refuel ourselves. We have to recalibrate, recuperate, hibernate. I love the word hibernate. We need to do that in order for us to come back as the best selves, for us to show up as our best self. Okay? So I want you to start being a little bit selfish in your femininity. That's the only way that you're going to really grasp femininity, and it's going to be easier for you. Like, I can't. If I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. I just absolutely have to. That puts you in your masculine energy. And like, if you're at work, okay, that's absolutely needed, especially depending on what type of career you have. You absolutely have to be in your masculine energy because that's the type of job you have. But when you're at work, that's absolutely needed. But when you're out of work and you're dealing with family and friends and associates and neighbors and church and organizations and things like that, you have to know when to say when. You have to know when to give. You have to know when to say, okay, I need some time for me. But when you are okay with that, that's when you're in your feminine energy. Because right now, you're just not used to things just working themselves out, the universe just responding to your femininity. You're not used to it because you're used to being in your masculine energy where I have to do it. I have to go. They need me. They do need you, but they need you to be 100% you. They need you to show up and as your feminine self. The people around us need us to show up as our feminine selves. And the only way we can do that is we need to take time out for ourselves. This is a big one. Simply because as women, the feminism movement has really pushed us out there to really work. And they didn't tell us how to relax and be girls again. And men are wondering when we're going to figure it out too, because when we relax in our feminine, that allows men, masculine men, to step up and see about us. As feminine women, we have veto power. We can say no, we can reschedule, we can postpone, we can move, we can adjust, and people will adjust around us as feminine ladies. But when you go, and people know no matter what, you're going to put yourself on hold for them, they're going to always expect you to do that. They're going to always expect you to put yourself on hold for them. And unfortunately, when you snap, they look at you like you're crazy because they've pushed you to that point. And I want to introduce to you today the concept of saying no, or let me think about it, let me postpone, I need time for me. And don't lie. Don't say, I don't want to do this. No, just say, look, I need some time for me. I thought about it. Some things came up. I need to go see about me right now. I need some time. People respect that more than they respect you going crazy, going haywire and flipping out because you're overwhelmed. People don't understand that, and a lot of women have missed out on potential marriages, potential serious relationships because they've completely bonkered out. They completely lost it because they're going, and they do not understand the power of the word no. And as feminine ladies, you've got to do that. Don't worry about them being mad at you, not talking to you. You know what? Sometimes people not talking to you is a good thing. That's when you get to see who really loves you and who doesn't. When you stand up for yourself and you set boundaries for people, that's when you see who's really your friend, who really loves you and who doesn't. That's when you get to see people's true colors. So here's some pointers that work for me. The number one thing that I do is I make time for myself. I don't care if I'm out of town, a house full of family. I don't care. I make time for me every single day. That could be yoga. That could be working out. That could be sitting, listening to your earphones for 30 minutes. That could be your makeup regimen. That could be you soaking in a bathtub. That could be meditating, praying. You know, I pray at 4:30 in the morning for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And then in the evenings, I take time for me too. I shut off all social media, if possible. If I don't, then I have done it earlier that day. But I make sure at some point in the day that is all Nicole. No phone calls, no texts, no TV, no internet, no emails, no nothing. And this is because this up here has to recharge. I have to recharge. You're going to find out that when you make a practice of putting yourself first, you're going to realize how more centered you are, how calmer you are. You do not jump from 0 to 100 because you don't get your way or something upsets you. You're not 0 to 100 as fast. You are calmer, and people respond to that. You don't answer questions about me time. Don't do that, because that puts you in your masculine energy. You don't have to explain why you need time for you. And the reason is because a lot of women, they don't understand that concept. So when you say, I'm being selfish for 30 minutes to an hour, and women without kids can do it even longer. You can do it all day if you want to. It's a beautiful thing about being single. But you don't have to explain that. A lot of women who are not in their femininity, they do not understand the power of saying no. They don't understand the power of taking time for themselves. And that's why they're so burnt out. And so when you start doing that, they're going to have huge respect for you. And then they're going to notice how calm you are, how receptive you are, how open you are. And as feminine ladies, we have to understand that a lot of the people around us, most of the women around us are masculine energy. They do not know how to process a lot of emotions at the same time. We do. So when you see people shut down or go crazy or flip out for no reason, it's a lot of stuff going on up here, and we just have to step back and let them process that. And let them come back to us, and then we can see about them. Then we can nurture them then. Okay? Don't take it personal when people shut down on you, because a lot of times they're in their masculine energy. They do not know how to process that stuff. We internalize, oh, she ain't gonna pick up my call. Oh, she not gonna talk to me. Oh, she not. We do this with relatives. We do this with friends. We especially do this with men because we think that they're ghosting us. We think that they are playing games. And sometimes they just need time for themselves. Sometimes guys need time for themselves too. And the first thing we do is we get in our insecurities and our feelings. And sometimes we don't give the other person the benefit of the doubt. And we just don't relax in our feminine and go, you know what? That's them. I got a life to live. Let me go. Let them catch up with me. Okay? Let them call me. And if I'm available, I'll deal. But right now I don't have time. That, whatever. And just let them come back to us. We get in our feelings. We have created an entire scenario in our own minds. And so when people come back to us, they expect us to be upset, And as friends, and femininity makes us better friends because we're so much more understanding. We are so geared towards putting other people first after we put ourselves first. When you put your oxygen mask on first, then you're able to see about them, and you're able to just give. If you don't set boundaries for people, over time you start to get resentful in your heart, and you develop an offense in your heart, and you start being resentful. And the very thing that they do that kind of makes you mad, guess what you do? You go from 0 to 100 because at the core you're mad about that gas money. It's not about what they did that moment. You're kind of mad about that, but you're really mad about that gas money. You feel like you've been taken advantage of. You feel like you've been disrespected. So that's what happens to a lot of us. We hold things in instead of talking about it, instead of setting boundaries. We do that with men, especially with men. We don't set boundaries, and then we get mad when he oversteps the It's sort of like, you know, those invisible, they had these invisible chain link fences, and you don't know it's there until, the dog doesn't know it's there until they run up to the chain link fence, and then they get zapped. Okay, that's how we do men a lot of times, is we don't set boundaries. And then when they run up, you know, and they test us, or they push the envelope or whatever, or just being themselves, okay, because you're a new person, they don't know you. You didn't set any boundaries, and so when they cross those boundaries, we go from 0 to 100. We have to set boundaries up front, and that comes from making time for ourselves. When we make time for ourselves, we get to know what we like, what we don't like, what irritates us, what we love, right? Yeah, and as a feminine woman, when you set boundaries, and people will start to respect those boundaries, including men. And guess what? That's how you get what you want. Women who don't set boundaries don't get what they want, and they get very bitter over time. All it means is they need to set boundaries. So make time for yourself. That may sound selfish, but we have to do that as feminine ladies. We have to do that. I don't care if you work 12 hours a day. You need to set aside at least 30 minutes. And I'm not talking about 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. I mean a straight 30 minutes where you can do to decompress. I like the word decompress, which is basically all day long in my masculine energy, competing, analyzing, thinking, solving problems, right? Being there for other people, working things out, dealing with everybody else's masculine energy. 30-minute nap can recharge you. I know it sounds selfish, but you have to be a little bit selfish to be feminine. And that's because people are coming at you 24/7, your man, your kids, your parents, your co-workers, your neighbors. All of those people are coming at you for different things. And a lot of you wear different hats for different people. Okay, because you're an extraordinary woman. So when you do that with people, you go, you know what? I appreciate you, but I need some time for me. Okay, call me later. Call me later, right? And especially men, they're gonna be like, call me later, because they're used to you like, when you gonna call me? When you gonna call me? No, you gonna call me later. I need some time to think. Let me center myself. Let me get back to you. Let me think about it. I need some time to sleep. I mean, people will start to figure out, okay, this is her downtime. And get in the habit of just doing you, and don't apologize for that. People will respect you, because when you come back to them, you come back as your best self.